What's your greatest fear? Mine is death. Maybe it's yours too. When I was a kid, around 10 maybe, I would keep my parents awake at night. I would go to them long after lights out, asking them what death meant. Where do we go? What do we do? And one aggressively atheist family member tries, but not too hard. But I'm not sure any words of comfort could have really helped. I still have the same panic attacks, that same distinct sinking feeling, the same lack of air. I see those anxieties passed on to my loved ones now. Rarely vocalised, but ever present. For me, it's the darkness. Everything suddenly stopping. I don't want to stop. Experience is everything, and I don't want to stop experiencing anything. A good sunrise on a cold morning, a black coffee when you know you need it, a warm hug when you think you didn't, watching Saturday night TV, marshmallows, pulling off a plaster, and the first time your baby holds your hand. I don't want any of that to stop. How we make our lives mean something beyond our linear lifespan is our great burden. Create art that lasts, help those less fortunate than ourselves, foster relationships that endure down the generations. Footprints, a trail, a trace, or just a vague echo. We all need to leave something behind. Or were we ever truly here? To put it another way, what will you leave behind? Hi, I'm Andrew. Welcome to Dialogue Tree. This is episode 3, Spiritfarer. Developed and published by Thunder Lotus Games on August 18th, 2020, Spiritfarer is a management sim and sandbox action game. Or, to put it in the words of Thunder Lotus themselves, a cozy management game about dying. In Spiritfarer, you are Stella, a young lady in a large hat, suddenly tasked with taking on the duties of Charon, the mythological ferrymaster of the dead. He's moving on, as we all must. You awake on a boat next to your cat, Daffodil. You meet him on a red river, rowing downstream. I thought for a second you would never wake up, little one, he says. How ironic would that have been, would it not? In conversation, he establishes the rules of this world, the space between life and what comes after, and what your role is within it. Go fetch the stray spirits stranded on the islands, and when they are ready, bring them back here. Dying souls can't pass away on their own. You, Stella, must bring those spirits back to the Everdor. The Alpha where everything starts, the Omega where everything ends, where existence meets its threshold. There is no task more important than this one. And to do so, you travel the world. To do that, you must sail the ocean. You need a boat. You and Daffodil head downriver to your first island. You meet Gwen, a friend. A robed silhouette, shadowed by the figure of an anthropomorphic deer. She knows you, though you don't know her. She talks to you fondly, before suggesting you both commandeer the boat moored on her island. It's a roomy, yet ramshackle jalopy. Worn down by the years, but undeniably charming. It's big enough for you, Daffodil, and Gwen. Off you go. And so begins the loop of Spiritfarer. Your ultimate task is to fulfill the needs of these stray spirits, before escorting them back to the Everdor. You will sail across this unexpectedly vast ocean, collecting resources and completing a variety of relatively simple quests for them. Doing so reveals more of their story and, sometimes, your relationship to them. In the course of fulfilling Gwen's storyline, you will come across another spirit and take them on board. This, in turn, leads to the other core mechanic of Spiritfarer, upgrading your ship. Now, your progression through Spiritfarer is tied to the progress of your boat. You will not be able to fulfill all your guests' needs without upgrading your boat. You will need new homes, a greenhouse, the ability to move faster and pass through various environmental obstacles. You do so by collecting a wide variety of resources from around the world, then visiting a gregarious shark called Albert to carry out the upgrades. You can modify the layout of your ship at any time from the onboard blueprint station, with a relatively intuitive interface that allows for a degree of creative freedom. There are many different resources, obtained from a variety of sources. An hour into this game, the red flags are everywhere. Bluntly, this game loop is a conceptual nightmare to me. Resource collection, management, grinding. These are all anathema to me. I avoid anything like a job simulator with prejudice. The loop of doing a single thing to make doing that thing quicker is the opposite of what I immediately gravitate towards in games. But I don't stop. The loop makes me nervous. It has me checking how long to beat, asking about game length online. The purported 25-hour runtime is downright terrifying. But I don't stop. The crafting puts me off, but I don't stop. I play until the credits roll. When they do, my eyes are raw, my face is streaked with tears. Life is often a grind, a routine of responsibilities, tasks and chores, punctuated by moments of joy, freedom, levity. And this game understands that, and this game leans into that. You win, Spiritfarer. Thunder Lotus give you something else in Spiritfarer that I feel has gone unheralded in much of the coverage of the game, to the extent that I was genuinely surprised by it. The movement in Spiritfarer is excellent. Stella is acrobatic and fluid, and there are a number of traversal mechanics in the game that put some dedicated platformers to shame. You have a number of movement options, mostly used in traversing the islands you come across in the course of the game. You can glide and ride updrafts with the aid of that giant hat, pogo with a sparkling pirouette, boost in midair, ride zip lines at uncommon velocity. It's simple stuff, but it's effective, and it feels good. Something seemingly uncommon in a lot of resource management games. A gratifying antidote to the item collection and menu hopping. Now, these mechanics come to the fore in the numerous location-based minigames throughout Spiritfarer, called events. These are triggered when you enter certain areas on the map, and they're optional challenges designed to test your traversal skills in order to acquire more resources specific to that challenge. The jellyfish, thunderstorm and meteor shower events are the most effective, forcing you as they do to jump, slide and zip across your boat, demonstrating your understanding of the mechanics and of the layout of your boat, in order to grab those resources out of the sky, whilst also functioning as a way for Thunder Lotus to show off their animation skills. Your mileage may vary, but I enjoyed these moments a lot. And that was a sidebar in this review. It's important that those gameplay elements be highlighted, but I'm just delaying the inevitable. I have to return to the story of Spiritfarer, to confront the story beats, to confront the bigger picture. There are a lot of characters in this game, and they are the crux of the game to the extent that the DLC for Spiritfarer is just that, new characters. They're a diverse bunch, and at least all interesting. An old-fashioned southern belle in the form of a lynx, with a fondness for soup. An ever-hustling bull and hummingbird double act, with an allergy to crustaceans. A spiritualist snake. Nurse Jackie. Dear old Uncle Atul. Each one is charming in their own way, and you will want to know their story. I never want to water plants in a game, but for them, I do. And it's those stories that pulled me over the ocean. Sweet, cocky, self-obsessed, shy, divergent and recognisable, always with a hook to compel you to fulfill their needs, to learn their story. At first glance, the anthropomorphic presentation is odd. Why are these spirits presented in this way? Ultimately, it turns out to be an appealing element of the game. This is a fun, playful way of presenting something scary. And of course, it's also logical to assume that the intent here is that each animal is representative of who this person was in life. That's a further point of intrigue that will make you want to dig deeper. And it doesn't hurt that these are really handsome, expressive sprites, whose exaggerated movements, those huge hugs, beaming smiles, dramatically sunken, sulky shoulders, really pop off the screen. So now is a good time to touch upon the animation in Spiritfarer, which is crucial to the appeal of the game, and which, as ever, I feel I lack the knowledge or vocabulary to do justice to. And so, I googled the words Spiritfarer animation, which led me to a fascinating interview that Thunder Lotus animators Simon Nicauchi-Pelletier and Alexandra Boyer gave to the Toon Boom website. As I want this podcast to give credit to the talented individuals that bring these works of art, our shared hobby, to life, I'd like to cover a few points in brief here. First, Toon Boom is an animation engine used by Thunder Lotus in the production of Spiritfarer that seems to specialise in the lively, cartoon feel that we see in the game. Simon and Alexandra touch upon the amount of animation used for Stella, that is, lots, and the importance of lighting in setting the tone. Quote, "The art director and the design team were after a simple style, yet not too much, somewhat soothing for the eye, with a flair of melancholic nostalgia to it." End quote. And they go on to say, quote, "The elements of nature, like water, fog, rain, wind, sunrise or sunset, what composes the scenery, is meant to give a sense of a dreamy, beautiful and nostalgic place, based on the memory of places in real life." End quote. Soothing, melancholic nostalgia. Dreamy, beautiful. These lines ring true. Evident in the moment to moment, but perhaps most obvious when you're out at sea. Sailing in Spiritfarer is its own reward. You set your course and just watch. The sea sparkles, the sky glows. A golden sunrise, crimson red sunset, morning rain, velvet night skies. This is a beautifully rendered world, and watching it pass by is one of the most satisfying passive gaming experiences that I've ever had. Soothing, melancholic nostalgia, dreamy, beautiful. Ways in which Simon and Alexandra describe the animation that can obviously be applied to the game as a whole. And the last point I want to draw from this interview is when they touch upon the subject of 2D animation versus 3D. Quote, "For our own work, we really like the simplicity, directness and handmade feel of 2D animation. There's still something magical about drawings that move and are alive." End quote. Drawings that move and are alive. Now that's simple, perfect. A link to this interview will be in the show notes. Oh, another sidebar. Again, I'm delaying the inevitable. I suppose we all do that. You build your relationships, learn about these characters, and your history with them. You will recognise your own relationships here, for better or for worse. The vivid characters and amusing, often touching dialogue draws you along. And though I can't say I've ever enjoyed cooking in a game, other games don't make you want to in the same way as Spiritfarer. I was desperate to get kindly, motherly Alice her old-fashioned food, and Gwen her black coffee. When their business is finished, it's time. And this is it. These are the moments that Spiritfarer builds towards. The trip to the Everdor. The final farewell. The forever goodbye. These moments are unlike anything else in any other game I've experienced. A swell of the music. A swell of the heart. One last conversation. One last embrace. You say goodbye to the friend that you've made. After they're gone, their living space remains, you can still visit it. You can sit there, and you can look, and you can think. I won't say any more about these moments, or what comes after. I'm not even going to play the piece of music that accompanies these story markers, a piece of music that lives rent-free in my head. These moments are the cornerstone of Spiritfarer. They are the achievement that sets it apart from other games, even the other death-positive games. I think they should be experienced with no further context. Each one hits me, a sharp intake of breath, a bite of the lip, a long, slow sigh. Your friend is gone. You row back to the ship, and you carry on. The music. Scored by neoclassical composer Max LL, this was, unexpectedly, my most listened to thing on Spotify in the year that I played the game. The opening song, Spiritfarer, contains every positive hallmark of the OST as a whole. A piano soaked in reverb, long, foreboding minor chords, and leading into nimble, lively pizzicato strings, before blossoming into a refrain so impactful that I catch myself humming it to this day. It's reused across the score in various arrangements, some joyful, some devastating. Other highlights are the playful Thunder Harvest and the Waltz Time Hummingbird. Now, this type of music is well outside of my wheelhouse of knowledge, but it's an orchestral soundtrack with an immediacy that means I don't feel pretentious listening to it, or recommending it. As ever, links to stream and buy will be in the show notes. Spiritfarer captures the highs and lows of life. The world is wide and daunting, the moment-to-moment often slow and repetitive. We overcome this by finding life in these moments, through the understanding that what we are doing serves a greater purpose. Every tiny act means something, however imperceptible. Watering a plant, a brief conversation, just listening. We build bridges. We make connections that outlast us. The game asks you, what will you leave behind? And the game asks you to be brave enough to try to answer. The characters of Spiritfarer learn to be at peace. Some have regrets, some do not. I have no regrets in playing this game. I hope I can say the same when I take that last boat ride. You've never been alone, and you will never be alone. Thanks for listening. The artwork for this show was produced by Pixel Benny. You can find me online at andrewvalentine.cc. Talk to you next time.